Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out the range to talk about an alternative to the AR-15. We posted our first video in the series a few days ago, and people really seemed to respond well to it. A lot of great comments and suggestions for future comparisons to the AR-15, and we'll get to some of those. But in today's video, we're going to talk about a rifle that's near and dear to my heart that I think that you guys will find as to be a very interesting potential alternative to the AR-15 if you're in the market for something that's a little bit different. AR-15, it's not going anywhere. This is America's sweetheart, and for good reason. It's a battle-proven weapon system, and lots of people making plenty of parts for it, and plenty of companies making the entire rifles. So let's get started with today's video, taking a look at the CMMG Dissent, giving it away just a little bit early in today's video. A lot of folks ask me, how can I get involved in the firearms business in that particular community? And one of the best ways to do that is to become a gunsmith. Every gunsmith I know is just overbooked with work. It's a very good living. And so if you would like to become a gunsmith, you need to go to a gunsmithing school or become an apprentice for an existing gunsmith. But Modern Gun School is an accredited college that also works with veterans in the GI Bill, where you can go and get a degree from accredited college in gunsmithing and then go out and start your own gunsmithing business, which I think is a really great option. Again, throughout my entire life, gunsmiths have always been able to earn a really good living, assuming they have a really strong work ethic. So please check out Modern Gun School. I do have a link in the video description below. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over the features of the AR-15. I've done it ad nauseum on this channel, and other channels out there have explained the AR-15 in great detail. But the rifle you see here is the Daniel Defense M4A1, and this is an example of a very nice higher-end rifle. And it's going to be very similarly priced to the rifle I'm going to show you in today's video, that it would be an alternative to the AR-15. Now, I should mention that we do read the comments, and a lot of you guys had suggested some different types of rifles to compare to the AR-15 as alternatives, some more affordable options. And one of those options is a Jackal, and we will get to that. Right now, I want to talk about, in today's video, a rifle that's very near and dear to my heart. My cameraman, Jason, has been a big fan of this particular firearm since its launch, and we'll show you what he's done with his. And it's, in my opinion, one of the better alternatives out there. Again, it's going to be in the same price range as something like this Daniel Defense. Now, I also want to start this off by saying yet again, because I know that the comments section will blow up, I'm not saying that anything out there will ever topple the AR-15 as America's most popular rifle sold. It just won't happen. The AR-15 is here to stay. It's cost-effective. It's reliable. It's outstanding, battle-proven. Tons of companies making parts and accessories for it. If you want a rifle that is just unstoppable, the AR-15 in the U.S. is that rifle. But some of us like alternatives. I don't really need 15 or 20 AR-15s, even though I probably have far more than that. But that's not the point. Some people want something other than an AR-15. And again, I've said many times on this channel, something doesn't have to be practical or even tactical to be fun to own. Now, the rifle we're going to show you today can replace the AR-15. In our testing, it has been an extremely reliable, fun shooting, accurate, really soft shooting rifle. And what we're talking about today, guys, before I go too far into it, is the CMMG Dissent. You've seen me talk about this rifle on the channel before. We were recently playing with it in 338 ARC. This is a 5.56 variant. Now, there's a lot of reasons why I like the Dissent. Now, I know that Hop made a video, which is a great video talking about the Dissent, and it kind of over the same subject, right? Why would you buy this over an AR-15? AR-15 will do everything this will do as good or better, so why bother with it? Well, I'm going to take a different tact, because, again, what if you already have 4 or 5 AR-15s? You're just looking for something different to shoot, something that you find interesting, mechanically different, something that would interest me, right? I love the AR-15, but I'm always looking for innovation and something new. And I think this rifle kind of brings that to the table. Now, one of my favorite rifles out there is the Sig Spear LT. And you guys know that, especially in 300 Blackout. You can have the Dissent chambered in 300 Blackout as well. Plenty of other cartridges it's chambered in. But one of the things about that particular rifle is it's a short stroke gas piston gun. Now, they've got the gas pretty good on it. It's not very punchy like early 416. Those things were horribly overgassed and very punchy for a 5.56. But it's still a little bit more punchy than Eugene Stoner's gas system, what many people refer to as DI, but what we call internal piston here on the Military Arms channel. And the Dissent has that. So this is, when we take it apart, you're going to see on the inside, this is very much related to the SIG Spear LT, but it uses Gene Stoner's internal gas piston system that makes it extremely soft shooting. Video can't convey just how soft shooting this gun is. It is such a pussycat, so flat shooting. I've never shot anything else quite like it. And that's one of the things I really love about it. So let's kind of go over some of the features. First of all, what's really cool about this, outside of the proprietary upper, there's a lot of parts commonality between this and the AR-15. So one of the selling points of the AR-15, lots of parts out there in case something breaks, especially in a shiznit hits the fan type situation where you might need to barter for parts or things like that to keep your weapon running. You're going to find that this gun shares a lot of common parts, but it's also quite different. So one of the cool features is that you can change out the end plates here. So you can use a standard buffer tube, which we'll show you in a different firearm this afternoon. You can use a standard M4 style buffer tube on here if you want, or you can just use it in its factory configuration. This is a factory SBR, which has a side folding polymer stock, which is also adjustable for length of pull. But, you know, some people may want the folding stock, other people won't. But what's nice is the action is all contained in this upper receiver, unlike the AR-15, which requires that buffer tube, unless you make considerable changes to the design, and some folks have with some aftermarket parts. That's not what I'm talking about. Moving forward, standard AR-15 style pistol grip here. It is a standard AR-15 lower for the most part that you can just pin right onto the upper. And so it'll hinge open just like an AR-15. You can see where, if you want to run the receiver extension, you can see that it has the facilities for it right back here. So you can run that M4 buffer tube on there if you want to, but you don't need the buffer because it's all self-contained like the SIG Spear LT. This one has a cartridge trigger in it, and very much like the SIG, it has a very high velocity on its bolt carrier. And so you want to be careful what trigger groups you put in here. Jason put just a standard mil spec in his, took the cartridge trigger out from the factory, put a standard mil spec in there. It only made it a few hundred rounds before it damaged itself. It started bending the disconnector and other parts. So he had to go and put a Geissele trigger in there, and we'll show you that. So you want to make sure that you use a trigger that can handle those types of forces. That was a very common problem with the early SIG Spears. The LTs, people were trying to put different triggers in them, and they were getting munched by that bolt carrier velocity. It will use, as I said, standard trigger, so you have different selector levers if you want. This one has like the quarter turn ambies that are very low profile. These are CMMG. You do have a trigger guard here you can replace. You have your mag release, which is also ambi. And your bolt stop, bolt release over here, which is in a large ping pong paddle arrangement. And so you have the port cover here. You will notice that we have no facilities on the right-hand side for a bolt stop, bolt release. So that's not ambi. But it is a standard AR-15 type lower, as you can tell from the push pins that I have here. The charging handle is a forward charging handle, non-reciprocating. So it will lock in the forward position, so you can put your hand here like this when you fire it, and you won't induce malfunctions like early generation scars or something like that. You can take the charging handle and move it over here, so you have right side charging as well. It does have a segmented upper. So you have a handguard on here, but this is proprietary to the gun. This is not an AR-15 handguard, but you have a handguard on here. You can see the seam on it where it connects. And so it's not going to be as durable as like the Robinson armament we talked about in our first video of this series, which is monolithic, but it's still very well done. It has M-lock all the way around. We have some heat shielding here, hand stop, mag pull stuff. So you have M-lock going around 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock position. I have this one set up because it has the Romeo optic on it, has backup sights and a flashlight and a suppressor on it, Huxworks suppressor, because I enjoy shooting this rifle a lot. The Huxworks on this rifle is just unbelievable. That it doesn't overgas a really soft shooting rifle. That's one of the big upsides to Huxworks, is that flow through technology. So when you're shooting this thing, it's just such a pussycat. It is so nice. It uses standard snag style magazines. And overall, the build quality on this is simply outstanding. So you're going to find that you can use triggers, you can use butt stocks, pistol grips, you can even swap out the barrels. Now, I haven't tried it on this current generation of the Dissent, but the other rifle, which I'll just go ahead and show you now, this is Jason's build that he SBR'd. So it was a pistol upper. He took the CMMG barrel out, dropped this Ballistic Advantage barrel right in there. Everything lined up. It was headspace checked. Everything went perfect. So you do have the ability to swap AR-15 barrels into it, at least with this early generation gun. Now you'll notice that he doesn't have a port cover on here like you do on the later generation guns, and you'll see that the bolt carrier is slightly different. It doesn't have the AR-15 type profile that the newer generation guns do. And you'll notice they lack a forward assist. So you can see that he also is running the buffer tube extension on there. This is just a standard AR-15 type lower that it's been mated to. And yeah, so no more side folding stock, but you have that collapsible stock, which a lot of folks favor because there's so many different stock options out there. That's one of the things that I didn't really care about this on my initial review, is that this is really kind of flimsy polymer. It's super lightweight. The gun is really, really lightweight, but I would probably opt for a different stock, and that's what Jason has done with his. So you have the ability to change things out if you don't like them, and you have that parts commonality, gas tube, barrel, the bolt itself. When we get into field stripping, you're going to see that the bolt is identical, the trigger group, pistol grip, stocks. So again, there's a lot of crossover, I think, really helps sell this particular firearm. So let's take the weapon apart. I also forgot to mention that it has an adjustable gas block up here. It's kind of like a superlative gas block, so you have that ability to adjust it to fine-tune it to the ammunition you're going to use and all that good stuff. That's something you won't find on something like the DD M4A1. It's something that you generally have to add to an AR-15. But again, there's so many different flavors out there. You can buy one with that gas block on it or something else. So let's first make sure that the weapon is empty, so there's no magazine in it. Just going to check that chamber, make sure there's nothing in the chamber. Let that bolt go all the way home. Hinge it open just like an AR-15. And guys, this is where it's going to get very Sig Spearish looking. So when I pull I'm going to break the charging handle loose, so it'll get the bolt and carrier sliding rearward. It'll come right out. Set that there. Now you can unpin the upper from the lower just like an AR-15 to separate them if you want to. So you can see how that's done. But nothing else is really required for field maintenance there. Taking it apart on the back side, first of all, you can see it's basically a truncated AR-15 bolt carrier. Pop one out of the manual defense here really quick so you can kind of see them side by side. So they are the standard AR-15 bolt carrier. All right, but you can see the similarities. Let's go ahead and field strip it. I'm just going to pull down on a spring, rotate this to the side, and then pull down the spring, and this will just fall away. Take my recoil springs out, then just lift up. And the rods will drop right out. This little piece just sets off to the side. That'll open it up so you can see your cam pin right there. All right, so I'll push that back. Have your firing pin retaining pin here. I should be able to pick that out with a fingernail. But to make my life a little bit easier, go ahead and break out the old Kershaw. All right, take the firing pin retaining pin out. Look at that, standard AR-15 firing pin. Rotate my cam pin. Knock that out. Standard AR-15 cam pin. And look at that, folks, standard AR-15 bolt. The only thing that's proprietary is going to be the bolt carrier and its recoil system. So if you need piston rings, just swap out the entire bolt, extractor, spring, cam pin, retaining pin, or firing pin, all standard AR-15 fare. So that, I think, is a huge selling point. Now, getting into complexities, we talked about the Robinson Armament XCR. When we took that gun apart, it had big, easy-to-handle parts. You didn't have a bunch of tiny little parts. I would say that when you go to field strip the bolt carrier on the Dissent, one of the downsides, it has more parts than you're going to have in a standard AR-15. These are quite a few more parts for basic disassembly. So if you're doing this in the field, it'd be easier to lose a part, right? But again, that's just one of those things that you have to weigh. There's positives and negatives to everything. Putting it back together is really simple. Just like putting an AR-15 together. You can't do it the wrong way. With regards to the cam pin anyway, because it is literally AR-15 parts. totally turned that. Come on, get in there. Whew, there we go. Take our firing pin, drop that straight down in there. Take our cotter pin there. Firing pin, retaining pin. Get in there, you little fart. I always struggle with this. I wind up bending them and everything else. All right, once you have that put together, now it's just a simple matter of putting these bits and pieces back together. Run our guide rods through. I always put it on end like this. That makes it a little bit easier. Drop your recoil springs over the guide rods. And this is borrowed directly from the AR15. Another one of Gene Stoner's designs, this recoil system. Very similar to that. Take these two pieces, set them together. Quit dropping the pieces. This needs to set on the top. So what I'm going to do is just pull one of the recoil springs down. Set that in there, let the spring go. That'll hold it in place. Pull the other one down. That'll hold it in place. There you go. Pull that bolt forward. Set your bolt carrier in there just like that. And then close it up. Now, you'll notice that this set's a little bit taller because the recoil system is on top, and you have this little end plate. And this is an accessory that you'll need to pick up if you want to run an M4 style buffer tube on here. And this attaches to the standard AR15 lower that allows it for the spring and recoil assembly to work against that piece right there. So you see how that fits together. Very smooth operation. There you go. Pretty easy to do. Just a few extra parts. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video talking about something different to the AR-15, in this case, the CMMG Dissent. It's a rifle that I love a lot. I really enjoy shooting it. I think that comes across in today's video. And again, guys, if you're looking for something that's a little bit different, there's plenty of alternatives out there. Keep dropping those suggestions in the comments down below, because we do read those comments and we're always looking for suggestions for future videos. I think next up, maybe we will do the Jackal or something that's a little bit more affordable. So until then, thank you for, gosh, it's 2026, folks. Happy New Year. Thank you for now 18 years of support. We've been doing this for a minute. If you'd like to support us at the Military Arms channel, the best way to do that is become part of our Patreon family. There's a link in the video description below. Also, right here underneath the video player you're watching right now, you got the subscribe button. Click on that subscribe button, and you can support us right here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. Again, thank you for those 18 years. Swing by, check out Copper Custom, and we'll talk to you guys soon.